My 2 cents segment today is going to be all about unfortunately, the hated ones, the San Francisco Giants. And as you guys, most of you know, I am a Dodger fan. So, of course, I'm going to lean toward them. However, I am objective and I don't get lost in my fandom. I want to be, fair and give credit where credit is due. So I wanted to dedicate to, I've been waiting to do this one for a little bit because a lot of people thought the Giants weren't going to win 80 games all year total. And they have 80 wins now as of Tuesday. So they're arguably the best team in baseball. And I kind of wanted to dive in a little bit on why they are that way, whether it's pitching, whether it's hitting, whether it's defense. And by the way, it's all those things. But they're kind of the surprise team this year, really. I mean, there's a couple other teams that are nice stories, but let's be real. The Giants weren't really a contender last year. So I want to talk about the Giants a little bit. I think we'll talk about some stats and stuff, but I think the key factor, at least the engine that makes the Giants go, is Buster Posey, the catcher for the San Francisco Giants. He took off all of 2020 last year for COVID reasons. He decided to opt out and not play, whether it's family related, whatever. A lot of guys did, but Posey took off 2020. Came back this year, and he's hitting over 300 again. And all of a sudden, the pitching staff is unbelievable, and everything's falling into place for the Giants. I think a lot of this falls on Buster Posey. Also, out of nowhere, Brandon Crawford, the shortstop, former UCLA player, is having an all-star year. He's leading the Giants in basically every statistical category, most of them at least that matter. Home runs, average, RBIs, you name it, Crawford's name is all over it. So he's been amazing this year. Brandon Belt, all of a sudden, some Giants fans are kind of down on him, but he's come back to be a great player this year. And they've signed other guys, Andrew McCutchen, Evan Longoria is back. They made a huge trade at the deadline for Kris Bryant, who they can re-sign long-term, and the Cubs kind of gave up on him during their fire sale. It's been pretty impressive what the Giants have done this year. Now let's talk about their pitching for a little bit. Kevin Gausman, by the way, they've got a bunch of former Reds pitchers who are all of a sudden dominating again. Kevin Gausman, Anthony DeSclafani, and Johnny Cueto, who's been with the Giants for a while, but is having another great year this year. But especially Gausman. That guy's top 5 in most categories in baseball. I think he's 12-5 overall, but dominating this year. I did a video on this on my Instagram a couple days ago about how Gausman's splitter, his split finger fastball, they call it a splitter if you don't know what it is, has been really good this year. And for the past calendar year, Gausman had, I think hitters are 1 for 73 on that pitch. Like the guy is ridiculous with that split finger fastball. So he's become unhittable this year. And in large part, DeSclafani and Cueto also, their ERAs are mostly floating around 3 this year. So it's definitely been the pitching. But the other weird thing is they don't strike people out that much. So it's got to be the defense, right? Well, just to give you some numbers on their defense here, they have the most defensive runs saved, meaning like plays to make that stop runs from being scored on shifting the infielders. So you guys know when they move all the infielders to one side of the field and they kind of pitch toward where the position players are, the defensive players are. The Giants lead the league in runs saved during a shifted defense with 27. The league average is 13. So they're basically one more than double what the league average of shifts are. Now, it could be a little misleading. The Angels are second, the Tigers are third, the Marlins are fourth. So it doesn't tell you the whole story, but it does tell you that they're playing great defense. And even though they don't strike people out, they're getting people out on defense. They've turned 80% of ground balls into outs when using a shift. Only the Padres are better. So when there's a ball on the ground, it's usually an out 8 out of 10 times, which is really impressive. Let's talk about their hitting for a second. Somehow, AT&T Park, where the Giants play, has become a home run hitting ballpark. The Giants, as of Tuesday, lead the league in home runs hit. It did not used to play that way. I don't know if it's the balls are different or the way guys are approaching obviously is different. We've talked about, home runs and juiced baseballs or juiced baseball players. Who knows if that's still happening, but there's something weird going on with the amount of home runs that are being hit there. But regardless, as of Tuesday, they are leading the league in home runs, American League and National League, all of baseball. Very, very impressive. So you get a few years ago, you get Farhan Zaidi, who was the former GM or baseball ops guy for the Dodgers. The Dodgers let him walk. Andrew Friedman said, go ahead. And he goes to the Giants. Brings in Gabe Kapler, who kind of had an okay time in Philadelphia and used to be with the Dodgers Dodgers player development. So now Gabe Kapler gets the job of being the manager of the San Francisco Giants. Bruce Bochy retired, and so now this is a whole new regime there. But to get all these guys, and they happen to be the oldest team in baseball to perform this way, is really special. You got to give it to the hitting coaches there, the pitching coaches there. To be top 5 in most categories is really impressive for the Giants. So they've definitely been pitching it, they've been hitting it, and they've been playing great defense as well. It's going to be a tight race coming down the stretch. You know, the Dodgers and Giants are neck and neck for ERA in the league. There's a reason these teams are good. They play defense and they can pitch. That's the bottom line in baseball. Hitting will come and go, and you got to have situational hits. But as they say, good pitching always beats good hitting. And it's usually true, especially the way that teams are shifting now, just like the Giants do. And you can put guys in position where they don't even have to move really to make plays on defense. You are taking over the game. As far as the Padres go in the NL West, it's probably, it's looking a little bleak right now. They've had a lot of guys hurt. But, it's going to be down to the wire with the Dodgers and Giants. It just seems like the Dodgers, they'll go 8-2 or 9-1 in the last 10. And the Giants will also. They just don't lose very much. So it's going to be a lot of fun down the stretch, seeing this playoff picture kind of round itself out. But I just did want to give the Giants some props today. They are doing well, and they deserve credit where credit is due. And it's no longer a fluke, man. You get into mid-late August, and you're still leading the league in categories, and you have the most wins in baseball. You can't fake your way to that. So props to the Giants for now until we get into the playoffs. We'll see what happens. But anyways, hope you guys enjoy my interview today, and I'll see you soon.